Zolf just got his ass beat. What do we want to pick? We have a choice. Save Zolf or not. We're gonna save him because we're nice.
I can see it now. The kid in one corner, and Zolf in the other. Ain't much of a fight. Don't you worry though. Once the Bastion's restored, it'll all be alright.
So we got Zolf here.
You ain't still thinking about that whole leaving the city thing, are you?
I set my sail, fly, the wind it will take me back to my home, sweet home. Lie on my back, clouds are making way for me. I'm coming home, sweet home. I see your star, you left it burning for me. Mother, I'm here. Eyes open wide, feel your heart and it's glowing.
Kid's probably dealt with Zolf by now.
I'm welcome home.
It reminds me of myself when I was his age. I ever tell you about those days?
So we saved Zolf, and we're back at the Bastion.
Hey, kid. Get up, kid. Come on, that ain't funny. I said get up. That's more like it. Now, set that shard into the monument there. Then we'll talk.
Got my bouncy shoes still. I don't wanna. Fine, let's do it. Save the day.
Bastion. It's finally finished.
We fixed everything. Or did we?
Now, there's something I want you to see. Welcome to the heart of the Bastion. I ain't one for long goodbyes, so here's the deal. Zia and I figure you done the heavy lifting, so you get to do the honors. We can tell you how to work this thing if you got any questions. Hey, kid. You can undo the calamity here and now. Go on, kid. And before I forget, thank you. Zolf only brought more ruin to the Ura. No wonder they didn't take kindly to him.
Let's talk about all this stuff.
Always wondered what the motherland was like. Not that it matters anymore.
So it's like we could evacuate to the motherland or whatever.
You've got one thing left to do, so you hang on to that badge. Besides, you earned it. Don't let anything you've done get to you. You can save all those creatures here and now.
You made it.
It's like the only time she talks.
So, let's see. You can either prevent the calamity, or stick around with me and Rex. I'd hate to be in your shoes. If I could be any place I wanted, I'd stay right here. We could go anywhere in the world. Zolf tried to talk me into joining him. I tried to talk him out of it. I guess we both failed. When I finally found my people, I told them we could help. They just took me for a traitor. Glad you showed up. Any moment I'd want to live again happened after the calamity, not before.
So it's like you can kind of tell Zia's kind of meant to sway you towards the evacuation. And Rux is more talking about, like, fixing it. But... what do we want to do? Could restore everything, or we could evacuate. You know, on my first time playing through this, I thought it was a pretty clear choice to do the restoration, but then it's like, is it now? You know? It's kind of like, kind of want to do the evacuation now. I'm going to do it because I just want to see what it's like. Just because. I think we'll do this.
Oh, mother. And here I figured
I like
you'd
how they
had
actually
nothing
draw
by
Zolf
now.
in because I saved him.
You could have undone the calamity itself. But instead, you want to stay in a world like this. I gotta admit, kid, I ain't yet put much thought in that idea. But carrying on with you here, we can't go back no more. But I suppose we could go wherever we please. And if anyone's left out there, I sure would like to see the look in their faces when we dock this thing right on their doorstep. Getting ahead of myself, though. I'm gonna need a first mate. What do you say?
I set myself to fly, the wind will take me back to my home, sweet home.
Alright, so that's the end of the game. There is a little DLC I might go back and do, but you have to do it in New Game Plus mode, so we'll see if I end up doing that or not. But yeah, I think this game was made by like 7 people or something, which, you know, I don't know. That's quite a few people when you look at some huge games and how many people they have. And I really like a lot of the effort they put into actually, like, representing your choices. Like in that last picture, Zolf would be gone if you didn't save him. I know that. And if you do save him, he's there, you know? So it's just like... even like little choices like that. And see, there's Zolf again. He's... how cute. This my little dude I saved. They're chopping up stuff. It's awesome. I just like these little pictures at the end. But it's just like, they do a good job of providing... not necessarily like a choice. The ending, I really like the ending. I mean, the beginning and stuff, it's kind of like not really that interesting, you know what I mean? It's just like, I heard a lot of the people, I like how I like how combat works in this game. I know there's been a lot of critique about this game, because it was generally received like very favorably, but then people are like, oh, that's just because it's hyped and stuff. And you see other games that have been released, indie games that have been hyped and aren't good, but I think this game is like legitimately good in a lot of ways. I mean, I've heard people complain about the combat. It's like, dude, the combat's, it's not like complex, but I mean, it's very like satisfying, I guess, is the main thing. It's like, what more could you ask? I don't buy games necessarily to always have like very complex ideas thrown at me, for the same reason that I like to read fantasy books primarily, just because they're fun, and I don't want to always read like philosophy books and think about everything super deeply. And so it's like, it's nice that the combat's gratifying. There's a lot of variety to it with the different weapons. I mean, there's a lot of different ways you can fight. I mean, I like, kind of just because I don't like to take a lot of damage, is that I go with a Brusher's Pike and like a really good ranged weapon, so I can mostly stay at ranged. But that's just me. I know there's a lot of other stuff you can do. You can go like super duper awesome Berserker Man with like the Kale Hammer, which is actually really good. And that's one thing I like, is it doesn't feel like it feels like you're progressing, but you're not like, I don't know how to even say this. You progress, but you don't really like get, I don't even know what I'm saying. Yeah, I know the Calamity Cannon seems overpowered, but that's just because I didn't really use that many ranged weapons when you think about it. There are a lot of, like the Galleon Mortar I didn't use. That is actually an extremely good weapon. Like, you'll see videos of people doing like time attack runs and stuff, and they'll use the Galleon Mortar because it's actually really good. I just don't like to use it so much. I tried to use it, but I was like, eh. I like to roll around like an idiot all the time and stabbing people and stuff. But that's just me. But yeah, I mean, I really like the ending, because, you know... Okay, I want to bring this up just because it's something that's bothered me. Like, BioWare, Mass Effect 3, the ending was a huge shit fest. And it's just like... I could totally see that happening. I knew Mass Effect 3 was... there was going to be something bad about it. Just because of the way BioWare has been running recently. But, the ending is just, like, totally... They could have gone so many different ways with it after an entire, like, 80 hours of gameplay with all the choices that Shepard has made and all that stuff. They could have gone so many different ways with the endings. They could have been wildly divergent endings, and yet they're all the same. And yet with this game, it's like... You don't really get... They don't really even, like, treat the ending very much. It's kind of like you're just blindly going forward, and then all of a sudden this choice is presented to you to, like, save Zolf or not to save him, to restore the Bastion or to evacuate. And it's just... It's kind of presented suddenly. And in some ways I like that because... I don't know. I think it's presented very well, especially with, like, the narration by Rux. It's very... I know a lot of people say that, oh, that's just some, like, gimmick thing. But it's like, it's a gimmick, sure, but they do it really well. There's a lot of gimmicky things that you can do in games, but it doesn't matter if it's good, you know? And I think that they did the narration very well, the timing of the narration, just his voice in general. And I really like how they didn't have Zia actually talk until the end. I think that's probably one of my personal favorite things, because it actually makes you feel like you accomplished something, you know? Like you actually did something. It's very cool that way. And then... Well, for one thing, I just like the art style of this game. I don't know, this game is just like a super ridiculously fun game. And I know the first time I played it, I basically just... So yeah, we can do, New Game Plus. We'll try that. But, I'll just do this real quick and get to the Bastion, because I still want to talk about stuff. He says, I'll see you in the next one.
Proper story is supposed to start at the beginning. Ain't so simple with this one.
See,
now here's a kid whose whole world got all twisted, leaving him stranded on a rock in the sky.
I think...
He gets up.
I'm just going to kind of try and talk over him. But I think that the big thing... I think this New Game Plus mode, it actually has a sort of significance if you choose the Restoration of the Bastion, because it kind of represents the futility of trying to change what's happened, you know? It's like, you know how Rux was talking about, you could go back in time, but it might not change anything, because who knows how many times the Calamity's already happened and had gone back, you know?
No, ma'am.
And so I guess that's kind of the main thing I take away from this game, is just that sometimes it's best to just, like, I guess, move on instead of trying to change things.
Gotta hold her still to spin up the chamber.
And it's, I guess it's kind of like a very, like, realistic and pragmatic look at how, like, life is, I guess. But maybe that's just me. I guess that's kind of what I take out of it. I'd be curious what other people think about what the game means. I mean, maybe it doesn't mean anything. You know, it is just a game, I guess you could say, but I think more and more people are trying to make games a, like, vessel for philosophical and social ideas. more and more so. And it's like this game, it's
Set
like
foot inside one of Celandia's
it
famous
deals with a
wineries.
lot of things like racism and just
haven't I?
tons and tons of themes
Anyway,
actually in this game.
Ronnie's place just brings back
Racism,
memories.
racism being most of the prominent one.
Ronnie always
There
wanted
are,
his ashes scattered
like the
here.
idea,
Then
should
he
you
finds
accept
his
things the way they
trusted
are? Should you
shield.
try and change them? How should you try and change them? Should you try and fix them, or should you press onwards and try and change things that way?
Security takes him for a petty thief.
You know, it's kind of like
Special delivery.
how we're dealing with racism right now in the current state of things is mostly
Bags start turning up
what I would
back
consider
hall.
the equivalent in this game of like trying to restore the Bastion. We're trying to fix what's happened rather than just go on.
More squirts start coming out of the woodwork.
We're trying to fix it by trying to do like things like affirmative
Big old
action,
fella
things like
pops out
all
from
sorts
the
of stuff. This is so easy when you have your good weapons, but there are a lot of. See, this is what I'm talking about. The combat's actually really fun. I don't know why people say the combat's not fun. I just countered that guy, and I just did like some really good shit, and it's like, okay, that
Kid
wasn't
sees
fun.
the way to the Bastion out the window.
But yeah, I
It's
mean,
a bit of a drop.
I guess I could tie that to Mass Effect 3 too. Mass Effect 3 is a lot about racism too.
He gets
It's
a
about
good look at
racist things,
on his way
but
down.
it's not nearly as. I
lands
don't
on
think it's
top
as
of a
like
breaker's
real.
bowl.
It doesn't feel as real to me as I guess this.
Kid spies a good
A lot of
person
stuff in
for
Mass
some
Effect 3
target
feels so contrived, and I guess that's one benefit of having a
practice.
shorter
Knows we should
game.
draw the string
Is you can
all
really,
the way
you don't have to worry. Like the longer a story
back. Long
is,
before the kid
whoops.
could loose an arrow, strong and true.
The longer a story is, the harder time you have
Good
keeping
news
it,
is the emergency defenses still
um,
work. Bad news
like
is they
consistent.
aim for the kid.
But we'll get back to the bash and then we'll quit. I don't know. Those are just some final thoughts on the
Except
game
if you
that I kind of
want
had.
to steal.
I really do enjoy this game, and if you haven't played it, I would highly suggest playing it. I mean, just if you don't consider like the story and everything, it's just a fun like kind of beat 'em up game. It's just fun to play in general,
Find
I
the
feel.
Distillery, right next to the arsenal. Tough part of town.
New spirits
One
now
sip of the
available.
Spirits in that distillery, and the kid'll feel like a new man.
Let's get Hardy Punch, of course. I know they provide passive bonuses. I already beat the game. Gotta get Bastion Bourbon. So there's a lot of different ones now. You do the champagne. And it kind of the champagne kind of counteracts with the Hardy Punch. I don't know if I really need that. Get more health. I could like take both of these and they would counteract stuff. Let's do that. Kind of mix some stuff up. How weird.
The arsenal's where the kid can pick the best tools for the job.
Yeah, I have access to everything now. So let's actually use this scrap musket. And then we can also use the, whatever. What other cool stuff do we have? Final warning. But yeah, this, like, I haven't even used hardly any of the weapons.
Some of
Which
them
is pretty
squirts
amazing.
birthing like crazy in a couple of
Oh,
corn bins.
let's try and get that, that thing I have to get. Dudes, fight me. It's like the scrap musket just wastes squirts. It's just like, this game is just, it's just so much fun to just go through and just do this shit. Like, I mean, the first day I got this game, I spent like 5 hours, just played straight through it. This is my second time going through it, like, new game. I mean, I played my, I did New Game Plus on my one mode, my one other dude.
Right back at you.
Scrap musket is really good for killing almost anybody.
Kid takes a chunk of alloy. Smell of barley and spoiled blueberries fills the air. Scumbags.
Scumbags.
Kid maybe shouldn't have done what he just did. Kid puts him out of his misery.
See, I did that so fast. Now that my weapons are better and stuff. Yeah.
He finds
Almost back to the Bastion.
Wharf district. He steals the city's heart. Might as well.
So yeah, I mean, there's a. I wonder if we can do the thing right away. Because I know in New Game Plus you gain access to a flashback about Rux. We'll see if we can do that. Because I would be very interested in knowing more about Rux. Because his character is like not a lot is said about his character during the game. You get a lot of revealing at the end about him. Like a lot of the game is spent trying to figure out what exactly Zelf and Zia are doing here, and it's only at the end they explain kind of how Rux is involved in this, and he basically made the Bastion.
Now the kid sees something stranger still. His mind races. Did anybody else survive?
Oopsies. Fell off the edge.
Sure enough, he finds another. He finds me. We talk for a spell. There's a bit of the Bastion's power in that crest. Enough to point the way to the cores.
So, I guess one thing is, how did the kid get the crest? Is kind of what I'm wondering, you know?
Then watch.
I think I would like to know how that was explained.
I try to let the kid down gently. This is the Bastion, all right. Except no one else showed up.
Put this in. Fixing the Bastion already.
Just like that, the Bastion comes alive. Starts growing again. Growing stronger. Kid's gotta put its power to good use. Now the Bastion can send him even farther into the wild unknown. Kid ponders what to build.
It's like, what do I want to make? Probably the shrine, just so I can...
Behold,
you can activate all of these. Should I totally do it?
Oleg, Garmouth, Akobi, Udrig.
It's just like...
The gods never liked competing for people's affections.
I think he says that if you do all of them. I mean, they put a lot of effort into doing those little things, and they do add to like the environment of the game. Apparently, there's like supposed to be some books somewhere. Okay, we'll take
Kid
this.
Don't know what's out there waiting for.
We'll take this, and then we'll go back quick. See if it shows up. If it doesn't, I may come back and do it. Otherwise, I may not. Apparently, some books are supposed to like appear here, somewhere around here. But oh well, I guess that's that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. I don't know if I'll do the little DLC thing. It's mostly just info about Rux. Well, I'm gonna do it, but I'm not gonna. I might not record it or something. But that is that. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. Bastion's a pretty sweet game. I would say you guys should definitely get it, especially if it's on sale on Steam or something. So pretty fun. I mean, for one thing, there's not a lot of games like this anymore that are just kind of like run around, beat 'em up things. I mean, you don't see a lot of those. It's all first-person shooters practically, which is kind of unfortunate. I like first-person shooters, but it's kind of sickening that there are no story-driven adventure games kind of like this anymore. You don't really get that a whole lot. But oh well. Such is the current gaming community, I suppose. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that, and I will see you next time.